What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Lollipops to Die For. I'm your host, Stephanie, and this is my co-host,
Simona.
And today we are going to be talking about Abducted in Plain Sight, a Netflix documentary. It was actually made after this.
In many ways, Abducted in Plain Sight was a disturbing 2017 documentary that began streaming on Netflix in January. It seemed too extreme to be believed. Directed by Sky Borgman, the film tells the story of the Brogbergs, a middle-class Pocatello, Idaho family that in the 1970s became close with a charming neighbor named Robert Berchtold, as well as his wife and the kids. Interesting.
They were all members of the same congregation of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Go figure. And as they grew closer, Berchtold became a fixture in their home, spending time with their parents, Marianne and Bob, and daughters Jan, Karen, and Susan. But the family's friendship with Berchtold, whom the Brobergs often called B in the film, would take a sinister turn when Berchtold, then 40, became sexually fixated on the 12-year-old Jan. First, he convinced her parents to let them share a bed, and then he went on to kidnap her twice, sexually assaulting her repeatedly. In an effort to brainwash her against resisting, he concocted fantastical stories about aliens.
Marianne and Bob Brogberg also claim in the film that the Berchtold manipulated them into separately engaging in their own sexual encounters with him as well. So much brainwashing. So here's how the story went. The first abduction happened in October 1974 when Berchtold took 12-year-old Jan on what was supposed to be a one-day horseback riding trip. They didn't return, but since her parents didn't believe Berchtold would harm their daughter, they didn't report her missing for days. What good parents they were. After taking her, Berchtold dragged Jan and strapped her down in the back of the motorhome he was driving in Mexico. Jan told the Idaho State Journal that as she drifted in and out of consciousness, she began to hear bizarre instructions transmitted from a nearby intercom. Robert Berchtold and Jan Broberg basically claimed that they heard alien voices.
Oh my God.
So the voices identified themselves as aliens from a dying planet, she told the paper. They said that they had been watching me since I was born, and I had been chosen to be impregnated with a child who would save their planet.
And according to the voice on the intercom, the person who would impregnate Jan was Berchtold. The instructions claimed the fate of the world rested on Jan's having sex with him. They said, if I didn't do this, my father and I would be killed. My sister Karen would go blind, and my sister Susan would be kidnapped and take my place as the female companion. The only thing I was thinking about was protecting my family, she told the State Journal. The lies, the sexual abuse would continue for more than a month as Berchtold drove Jan toward Mexico, ultimately marrying her as child marriage was legal in Mexico there at the time. By then, Jan's parents had notified the authorities about their daughter's disappearance, and Berchtold was subsequently arrested in Mexico.
But here's where the story gets more twisted. The second abduction. The marriage between Jan and Berchtold was annulled upon the duo's return to the United States, and Berchtold was charged with kidnapping. He only received 45 days sentence, and ultimately he served only 10 days of jail time. Meanwhile, the sexual abuse continued. Though by then, Jan says in the film she believed she was in love with B. When Jan went missing again in 1976, she was gone for 4 months, according to this disarray news, the Berchtold took her to California. Is there in love?
Yeah, of course. But word of Berchtold's second abduction of Jan reached authorities, and Berchtold was again charged with kidnapping. He was forced to cut contact with Jan, then 14, and he dodged prison time, instead being sent to a psychiatric facility for 5 months. In 2003, Jan and her mother, having come to terms with Berchtold's manipulation and abuse, collaborated on a book about her ordeal titled Stolen Innocence, the Jan Broberg Story. Of course, everybody's got to write a book. Subsequently, 6 other women came forward and said Berchtold abused them as children, and Newsweek reports he served a year behind bars for rape of a child. Berchtold died by suicide in 2005. He should have done that a lot sooner.
Too easy for him.
Yeah.
So many viewers have expressed outrage of how Marianne and Bob Berchtold turned a blind eye to their daughter's abuse. They waited 3 days to report Jan missing when she first disappeared in 1974, and they allowed her to sleep in bed with Berchtold. And the film states that they signed affidavits after the first kidnapping, agreeing not to press charges. They later retracted those affidavits, according to the newspaper. But Jan Broberg, now in her 50s, has said she harbors no resentment towards her parents because she considers them victims of Berchtold manipulation. I have the bravest parents in the entire world, Broberg said at an event. But who are they now? Bob Berchtold died in 2018. He and Marianne remained married until then, because this is a happy marriage. Jan Broberg went on to become a successful actor, appearing in TV shows like Everwood, which ran on the WB, and appearing in films like Chasing Bullet. Vanity Fair reports she currently lives in Utah, where she works as an executive director at the local theater. Jan has been outspoken about the trauma she suffered as a child, and she regularly participates in community outreach to help educate people about child predators. You know what? My 2 cents on this: family of Cocoa for Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah, because I think the mom and dad were kind of in on it a little bit.
I mean,
yes and no. It
who
was
lets
kinda,
their
I know
child
they
to
were
sleep
they
with
were
some
manipulated.
man? Yeah, but no matter how manipulated you can be, no normal human being lets their child at 12 to sleep with an adult,
right?
Even if they're a family friend,
right?
Man or female,
right?
So that's one,
right?
So they have to be a little bit cuckoo,
exactly.
And 2, okay, I get the manipulation, but I get it once,
right?
Twice,
I know.
And the daughter is like, "Oh, my parents are the bravest parents." Like, you have a little bit of twisted.
What else is she gonna say?
Right.
You know, I don't know. You know, of course they have to make the movies. They have to make the books, and they have to make money off of the story that I think they kind of pondered off their child to this guy.
Right.
That's my personal 2 cents.
Right.
But, you know, it is what it is.
But
supposedly so.
But this is what normal families do to their children.
I guess.
And they make money out of it, you know. So
it's horrible.
I mean, this is the world we live in.
So in case you guys want to know what the sound is, they're drilling across the way at the studio, and next door they're filming a TV show. So sorry for the interruption.
But thank you for watching.
And until the next time, guys, always remember, the truth is always scarier.
Bye.
Bye-bye.